What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner, a channel dedicated to all things Arsenal Football Club, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look back at the weekend's action, including the VAR controversy around our 1-1 draw with Brentford, the game between Manchester City and Aston Villa, what it means in terms of our upcoming game against Manchester City at the Emirates on Wednesday, our title challenge, and all other things that pertain to our beloved club. But before we get cracking, if you want to be kept up to date every single day with all the news and views from our beloved club, why not consider clicking that subscribe button? And if you like the video, then do remember to click like, and of course any comments are very welcome indeed. But before we do anything else, I would like to take you direct and live to the professional game match officials Howard Webb, who has offered to issue a full apology to Arsenal Football Club for this weekend's VAR travesty.
I'm so sorry.
All right, so all joking aside, what a frustration though. Howard Webb has contacted Arsenal and Brighton, who also suffered, to acknowledge and explain the significant errors. So not apologise for, but to acknowledge and explain. Apparently what happened is that VAR operator Lee Mason didn't draw the guidelines to check for the offside for Brentford's equaliser. During a 1-1 draw at the Emirates, Ivan Toney's 74th minute goal was subject of a VAR check by Mason following Ethan Pinnock's challenge on Gabriel. Apparently he spent so long checking that, what he didn't do was, having cleared that issue up, he didn't then check to see if Christian Norgard, who crosses the ball for Ivan Toney's goal, is actually on or offside, which is hugely frustrating. Mason didn't apparently use the system's lines that would have shown the Brentford man was in fact offside. Now, look, first and foremost, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. It's spilt milk. It is going to be absolutely galling at the end of this season if we lose by 2 points to Manchester City. I really hope that doesn't happen. Nobody wants to have things to complain about when a game ends in a draw like that. I have seen lots of people online over the last couple of days saying it was a fair result. You know, Brentford should have got a draw out of anyway. But the point is, the only reason they got a draw out of this game was because the goal that they scored, which was offside and checked by a system which was introduced to reduce human error, and they didn't use it properly. And why that's incredibly frustrating is that most of us, well, if you've got one job to do, if you're sitting in a little room staring at a screen and you've got technology that can show you to the millimetre whether somebody is on or offside, and you just don't use it because you feel under pressure and it's taken you long enough already, then what is the point of VAR? And it wasn't just our game, as I mentioned before, Brighton, Chelsea. It just seemed like a day where we went back to a time before VAR where there was plenty of human error and we all had to deal with it. This whole system, which delays the way we celebrate goals, which delays the game in general, which gives it an awfully stop-start feel, is intended entirely to reduce human error. And we've got people sitting in a room apparently working for, and this is galling, they're calling themselves the Professional Game Match Officials Limited. Well, I would take the word professional out, and I would say also, can we just do some sort of checks on these people? Because the other really galling thing is it was Lee Mason that was in exactly the same position who ruled out Martinelli's goal early in the season, which has led to, I think, erroneous speculation that he has some sort of bias against us, Manchester born as he is. Now, I'm not saying I think there's a conspiracy to keep us from winning the title. What I am saying, though, is that an apology does you no good. Having people tell you that Brentford deserve to get something out of the game, that's fine. We deserve to get something out of the game against Manchester United earlier in the season when we didn't, but we didn't. I'm absolutely amazed at the kind of comments that Richard Keys is making, where he's going back and saying, you know, because we had a goal that should have been ruled off against Liverpool, we have no right to complain about this. Yes, we do. We have a right to complain about the fact that we are all frustrated at a 1-1 draw with Brentford, which actually is a 1-0 victory. I know it's spilt milk. I know that we can't go bleating on and on about it, but really something has to be done that fundamentally changes the way VAR is being used at the moment. And until then, it's really questionable whether it improves the game or not. Anyway, having talked about VAR as much as I ever want to talk about it again, we get to the subject of Manchester City versus Aston Villa. Now, I did post on the Facebook page, which is going great guns, by the way. Thanks all for your support. I did post, does anyone feel confident about the game between City and, Aston Villa? Can Unai Emery go back up there and do us a favour in the way that Harry Kane, ex-Gooner that he is, did for us when City went to Spurs? And it wasn't long into the game before we realised that wasn't going to happen. Manchester City have been under a cloud, obviously, because of financial fair play. Their home crowd, you've got to give them some credit. They got behind the team. A fantastic performance in the first half. A little bit lacklustre in the second half after Erling Haaland had been taken off. And there is some speculation that he's now injured and may not face us in the game at the Emirates. Personally, I'm not sure if we'd play better with him in the team or against them with him in the team or without him. And I don't think we need to be looking at other people to do us favours. Erling Haaland, who looked absolutely outstanding in the first half, didn't reappear for the second half after taking a knock in collision with Martinez. So maybe there is an Arsenal player trying to do us a favour after all. I don't know if it's serious or not. According to Pep Guardiola, the doctor said that since they were 3-0 up already, was there any point in carrying on with him? And with a view to playing us, obviously, they took some precautions. Now, I don't know if it's better or worse for us if he's in the starting lineup. He hasn't scored against the top six side. When we played them at the Etihad, Holding, who came into one of the six changes for our team, seemed to do quite a good job of looking after him, even though if it was a bit scary at the beginning when he got a yellow card. I'm not worried about Haaland as much as I am about how we come out and perform. We have had a disappointing couple of weekends. I did a long video about this. Click the link if you want to watch that. I did a long video talking about how we have a young team and they are at the top of the table, somewhere no one expected them to be, if we're honest. And there is a fear of loss that might be kicking in, as well as some fatigue. I also feel like we don't necessarily have all the options that we would need really for this title run-in. And Jesus, Emile Smith-Rowe and Reiss Nelson can't come back soon enough to give us those options. Going into the game against Man City on Wednesday, I am really confident, though, that the fans will get right behind this, that the stadium will be rocking and that they are in for one hell of a game. I hope it's an exciting, thrilling game, and I hope beyond hope that there is no controversy which mars the final result. I'm happy to take whatever result we get, and it's still a long way to go before the end of the season. I'm old enough to remember other title run-ins, and you never have it easy. It's never easy all the way. So, a lot of confidence before that game. We seem to have a full lineup to choose from, with the exception of Jesus. I am hopeful over the next couple of days Emile Smith-Rowe will be able to make the subs bench. Maybe it's a bit soon for Reiss Nelson, but again, having these players on the bench just so that you can bring them on and make a difference is really important for us. I will be looking at the Manchester City game over the next couple of days, keeping you updated with any injury news. And I know that there are people now saying that we probably want to look at bringing in some fresh faces just to G the team up a little bit. Zinchenko was singled out for his performance. People asking why wasn't Kieran Tierney started. Perhaps we should start Kieran Tierney. I know Eddie Nketiah didn't have his best game, and we are short of options up front, but is there any way we can juggle the pack? Should Martinelli start? All of these things we'll discuss as more and more news comes in. Personally, I've said this a couple of times now, I was really happy with the selection against Brentford. I think it's a measure of how far we've come that people are acting like we lost. We didn't. It was a draw. Brentford are a very good side. They don't concede many goals. All of the things I've already said ad nauseum. The only other thing I wanted to do today was to wish Liam Chippy Brady a happy birthday. Liam is one of the Arsenal legends. He spent 7 years at Arsenal Football Club, won our Player of the Year 3 times, was the first player first foreign player to win a PFA Player of the Year, and went on to huge success after he left us in Italy and returned to play for West Ham, unfortunately being relegated with them before retiring in 1980. So it was a couple of years before I went to my first game, but certainly as a young Arsenal fan growing up, all you ever heard about was how great Liam Brady was. So I've included what I think is his best goal in an Arsenal shirt, coming as it does in a 5-0 away win at White Hart Lane in 1978. And Liam, who went on to manage our youth team and was actually responsible for letting Harry Kane go, thank you so much for all that you gave to the club. You really are a legend. That's been all from me. I hope you've enjoyed this content. I hope you go on to click like and do pop over to the Facebook page and have a look at that. We're also on TikTok. And I wish you lots of luck.
Waiting again with a cross from Price. Stapleton. Oh, that Rice in there.